over 3,000 Coke bottles and over 5,000 lunch boxes. I've been collecting stuff for 50 years. All the stuff that brings back a lot of memories when you go through the oldies but goodies room. And all you young people, I see a bunch of young guys here and ladies, you're going to see all the stuff you missed. Yeah, you missed a lot. Yeah, I'm lucky. I was a teenager in the 60s. I don't look that old. I'm in good shape. But if you have any questions, anybody have any questions before we go in the back? Nope. Yep.
We're excited.
Okay, well, today's a special day. You guys probably don't know what I'm going to tell you. Dwight D. Eisenhower, June 14th, 1954. He ordered all the printing on all the American bills. In God we trust. And you guys didn't know that, huh?
No.
Yeah.
That's her birthday.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I want to thank you for all the money you spent to see the museum. It always goes back into the museum. Almost every month I get more stuff from Europe. I deal with 5 collectors. I don't go anywhere. For the last 30-something years, I've been dealing with the collectors. They email me. I say yes or no. They tell me what they want for it. And if I say yes, I send them a check, and the box is here in 30 days. That's where all the stuff comes from. Everything is 100% original. And I'm going to show you stuff you'll never see at other museums because they won't allow it. I allow everything. Yeah. And 98% of everything in the museum you see is fully operational. You go to a government museum, they don't allow machine guns, real bullets, stuff like that. Mine are all real bullets, real machine guns, and every vehicle you see is fully operational. I'm ready if the Russians come. Okay, guys, we're going to go through here, through the garage door, and make a right turn, and you can check out my brand new hot rod I just bought 2 days ago. I got to do something with my money. So now I have 53 of them. Yeah, but I still only have one.
Yeah, we can wait for it. There they are. Just wait for it.
Yeah, after the tour, you guys should take a look at my garage. That's what I do every day. I repair Harley Davidson motors for 57 years. Yeah. How you doing?
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning, folks. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just keep coming in this way to the right.
Okay.
Just keep moving into that room, folks. We're going to get everybody in there to start off the tour. That's the M59. Yeah, so M47, M59, M113. The M59 is what actually Elvis drove around in Europe. Oh, that would be M47.
PC3? At the Green Apple. Yeah, he was on that. 210 and he jumped out.
Keep moving into that room there, folks.
There's the money shop right there.
Move on up, folks. Not much room in there.
Nice.
See him from the beach.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad everybody's joined us on this Friday. Again, my name is Justin, so if you have any questions, please feel free. Just raise your hand. I'll do the best I can to answer those questions. Just remember you're limited to 3 questions or 1 stupid one, okay? I was not looking at you specifically, sir. I just wanted to point that one out, okay? Again, folks, please take all the pictures and videos you want. The ATF and the FBI already knows what he's got in here. On that note, do we have any FBI or ATF agents with us? If we do, we've got a special tour for you guys. All right. A couple cautionary things, folks. Our carpets do overlap in the museum. Just kind of watch as you walk through. Make sure you don't trip on any of the carpets. Again, over 2,500 working weapons. All the ammunition you see laying around is live. So please try not to touch anything, okay? We do have plenty of first aid kits and stretchers in this museum. I'm too tired from the last tour from carrying people out, and we've got some pretty big guys in here, so I don't want to carry anybody out today. I always like starting off with if everybody could have a quick little read of that sign. Again, this is the reason why Dragonman has spent over $10 million of his own money putting this museum together. It's so we don't forget about the men and women that serve our country, especially the ones that did not come home from their tours of duty, that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. It was actually General Patton on a Memorial Day address just shortly before he died. He said, "It's foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. And because those men lived, we're here today enjoying those freedoms." On that note, do we have any veterans in the group with us today? Do we have any veterans? All right, thank you guys for your service. Do appreciate it. How about any active duty? Do we have any active duty with us? Any active duty? No? How about family members of military members? Right? Guys, got to realize that the family members serve just as much as our men and women do. They're at home, they're raising the families, they're supporting our troops, our men and women, when they're overseas. So let's get this tour started. This is our Omaha and Utah beach display. This is kind of actually representing the day after the initial invasion, or liberation is how I like to call it. All right, Operation Overlord started June 6th, 1944 with 156 Allied soldiers storming the beaches of Normandy that day. Operation Overlord was the deadliest campaign that the U.S. has ever fought. We lost 29,000 soldiers in that campaign. Just on June 6th alone, the Americans lost 4,414 U.S. service members, and the Allies lost anywhere between 10 and 12,000. So all I can say about that operation, especially D-Day, June 6th, just had been hell on earth, all right, for what those soldiers went through. Because not only did they have to take over those beaches, they went also inland to liberate Europe. So, I mean, just incredible of what that generation did to, again, provide us our freedoms. If you look up front here, we've got a map actually showing 5 out of the 6 different landing spots that the Allies used. We've actually got sand from 5 out of those 6 beaches. The only one that's not being represented is Point de Hook, and that's where the 2nd Ranger Battalion stormed the cliffs that day to silence the German 88 millimeters. As we go through the museum, I'm going to point out some things. Of course, we don't have time to talk about everything, but I like pointing out this. This is an interesting weapon. This is the M1 Garand. It was first designed in 1935, put into service in 1937. What makes this different, this is the first semi-automatic gas-operated rifle that the U.S. military designed. It was designed to replace the 1903 Springfield. As we move through the museum, you'll see here on your right-hand side, this is an M2 50 caliber heavy machine gun. All right, the 50 caliber was first designed, the M1 was actually first designed in 1918, put into service in 1921. It was updated in 1933 with the heavy barrel. That's the version you're looking at right now. The troops nicknamed it the Ma Deuce, and it's pretty much remained the same since 1933. It is the most produced machine gun the U.S. military has designed. As you come through, on your left-hand side here, you're going to see a submachine gun. And just so you guys, if you don't know the difference between a submachine gun and a machine gun fires pistol caliber ammunition, where a machine gun fires rifle caliber ammunition. But the M3 grease gun, the Americans actually designed this off the British Sten submachine gun. However, this one is chambered in a 45 caliber round. You look closely at it, it kind of resembles the mechanic's tool, the grease gun. That's how it got its name. On your right-hand side, you're going to see the M2 60mm mortar. This was the little brother to the M1 you'll see a little bit later on. This is, again, World War II era. This would have a kill radius of about 45 feet. And that case of mortars you see in front was actually packed in 1944. As you come through on your right-hand side, you're going to see the typical mess kits and ration packs that the GIs used. Have a close look at the lids as you come through. The militaries of the world dated all their equipment going back to World War I all the way up through Korea. And you'll have a look at our displays and you'll see dates on a lot of the equipment. For example, these lids, you'll see 1943, 1945. Check out the Camel cigarette packs. All right, most of our GIs smoked back then, and they were actually issued Camel cigarettes in their ration packs. As you come through, On your left-hand side, as we're getting ready to leave this room, you're going to see a typical communication station that would have been set up on the beaches that day. Of course, during the initial wave of the invasion, they didn't bring any gas or diesel generators with them. So Steve would have been sitting in this chair cranking this hand-powered generator to provide power to the radios for communication. We don't have any questions, folks. We're going to move on to the next room. We've got a lot to see, over 78,000 square feet today. Right this way. And hang right. Have a look at our display as we move up to the room. And we're going to start a circle to the left hand.
That's a stretcher. That works just like the house. That's all.
Moving in, folks. Just sort of off to the right. Have a look at our display as we move the room. I'll try to get as many people in here as possible. That means stop. Don't speak Europe. That means guessing. Has to, right? You know, that's what I was guessing. Yeah.
Deduction.
We just got started. We just got started. All right, folks, as the rest of the group is coming into the room, this is what we call our honor room. Everything that you see in here has been donated by a Fort Carson soldier, one of our Special Forces soldiers. So from the uniforms to the boots laying on the ground to all the different paraphernalia you see on the ground here. When you go through the museum, you're going to see pictures at the feet of our uniform mannequins. These are the actual men and women that wore these uniforms. So it kind of puts a different spin on what you're looking at. You're just not looking at another piece of cloth that was made in some factory. There was a warm-blooded human being that wore these uniforms. The reason I say that is you're around the corner, have a look down to your left. This is how this service member came home from his tour of duty. In the coffin, draped with the American flag. So we do respect the American flag in here. Dragonman's got well over 2,000 American flags. I always get asked a question about these suits here over on the left-hand side. These are our EOD, or Explosive Ordnance Disposal suits, that are known as bomb suits, right? So the first one here, the camouflage, think of that as kind of the first generation. Heavy fabric, Kevlar material, and it really did a good job of protecting our soldiers against the shrapnel from the IEDs or explosive devices. But what they were coming to realize, it wasn't the actual shrapnel that was killing our soldiers, it was the blast wave that came out from the explosions. Created something called blast lung. That concussion would come out and compress different organs of the body. So in the early 1990s, they came out with the brown suit. It's called the ABS, or Advanced Bomb Suit. And what they started doing was adding foam pieces to that suit to help protect against that blast wave. These suits weigh anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds. Imagine putting a helmet on there, walking around in the sand in the Persian Gulf at 120 degrees. No thanks, that's why I joined the Navy. Good to be here, guys. All right, this is always fun to talk about. And you didn't even flinch. Hardcore. I'm going to have to keep an eye on you this tour. You guys know what this is? RPG, right? Good job, buddy. This is a rocket-propelled grenade. We've got an example of a launcher up there. But this would fly at 1,067 feet per second. We've actually got a crate of them right here. Ooh, hardcore, man. Wow. All right, folks, I just want to caution you as we go into the next room, we do have some graphic imagery in this room. During the Gulf campaigns, our soldiers were given directives to take pictures of their dead enemy kills. What they were doing was tracking any type of high-value targets or high-ranking officials. But it shows you some of the imagery of what our soldiers almost went through on a daily basis and the imagery that they brought back with them. So I just want to caution you folks. Right this way. Come on in, guys. And you folks can just keep moving around the corner. Keep people moving around. When you look at these pictures, war is not displayed in the movies, and it really is. Keep coming in, folks. You guys can start circling around the room and have a look at these plays as you're going around. As you come into this room, the majority of items that are on display in this room were taken from one of Saddam Hussein's palaces. In his 26-year reign, Saddam Hussein built anywhere between 80 to 100 palaces, and again, the majority of items on display were taken from one of those palaces. For example, all these ceremonial knives and daggers to my right here were taken from one of his palaces. Every single knife or dagger here is different. As you go through the room, you'll see the typical dress that the Iraqi people would wear. The men would wear an outfit called a thobe, and the headdress is called a gutra. The most common gutra is this one right here with the black and gray scarf with the black headband. You also see that we've got what the women and children would wear. It's called a hijab. And then also in the center of the room, we've got Republican Guard uniforms. Believe it or not, there's actually some of these uniforms still have bullet holes in them. Keep moving around the corner, folks. As you guys are coming around the corner, you'll see a black table. On that table is a scrapbook. That is Saddam Hussein's scrapbook. Yet an officer built that scrapbook for him. Anytime his name was mentioned in the media, that officer would build that scrapbook, take those articles out. The little notebook you see on display there is Saddam Hussein's notebook. That's actually his writing. That 5-foot hookah was taken out of Saddam Hussein's palace. And the sword you see laying on the ground was actually taken out of his master bedroom. So you can only imagine how he probably handled that sword. On your right-hand side, you'll see pictures our soldiers took of the capture of Saddam Hussein, where they found him in the spider hole. Notice that third picture from the right. They actually found a case of American $100 bills with him. You'll see his subsequent imprisonment, and then when he met his ultimate fate at the gallows. That last picture you see on display was taken about 30 seconds before he was hung and put to death. Saddam Hussein was hung December of 2006. We don't have any questions here, folks. We're going to move on down to Afghanistan right this way. Moving in that room there, folks.
Okay, we're gonna go right down this way. There you go.
This is a man.
We'll just get warmed up.
Yeah. Best I've ever seen.
Quite a collection. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for this.
Yeah, thanks for coming over. Okay, guys, let's move it up. You got a chance?
Just keep moving into this room, folks. Just keep coming in. All right, folks, as the rest of the group is joining, this is our Afghanistan room. The Afghanistan war was the longest war that the U.S. has ever fought. Started in 2001 and ended in 2021, where we lost our last 13 service members with the explosion that happened at the airport. Coming up to 3 years now, this August, when we lost our last 13 service members. I always like pointing that out because you never hear about it anymore. You guys can keep coming into this room. During that period of time, the coalition forces lost 3,579 soldiers with 23,000 being wounded. The Americans lost 2,402 soldiers with 20,000 being wounded. What took out a lot of our soldiers, injured a lot of our soldiers, was over here to your left-hand side. These are examples of IEDs, or improvised explosive devices, okay? What killed our last 13 service members is this guy right here. Not the guy taking pictures, but the guy right there to his right. This is our example of a suicide bomber, all right? These suicide vests would be made up of ammonium nitrate, kerosene, fertilizer, some other bomb-making parts. A majority of these devices would be set off electronically through cell phone signals, batteries, and the sort. Look in his right hand. This would work very similar to how a grenade would function. You pull the pin, you let the lever go, it sends the electronic charge to the vest, and it explodes. That's what took out our last 13 service members. I hope nobody forgets about them, because coming up to 3 years this August. If we don't have any questions on Afghanistan, I'm going to turn it over to Dragonman. He's going to talk about a couple of his military vehicles. Right this way, guys.
In 1942, the White Trucking Company in Wisconsin only made 520 of them. Over 400 went overseas and never came back. In my museum, I have one of each half-track. There's 7 different variations. This is the M10 ammo trailer, holds 6,850 caliber bullets, and back of the trailer, it was pulled behind all the half-tracks, armored cars, and tanks during World War II, 1939 to 45, and then Korea, 1950 to 53. This is a complete M2 half-track, just the way it would have looked and equipped, coming off the landing craft June 6, 1944, on Omaha and Utah Beach. The back gun is a 30-06 Browning. The front gun's an M2 50 caliber, and both guns fire 550 rounds a minute. Both guns are on a trolley. The trolley is on a skate rail that goes 360 degrees around the vehicle. It also has the original radio in it. In the last 38, 40 years, I had 7 vehicles shipped back from Europe. It takes 8 to 9 months to get a vehicle back, and this is one of them. I'll point them out as we go through the museum. Everything I got here is 100% original. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. Okay.
It costs a lot of money to get these.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money. Yeah, I'm good at that. Yeah, I probably spent over $400,000 on shipping, just getting this stuff here. And then another $11 million on everything you see. But no matter what museum you go to, you're not going to see a better setup than what I set up here. Even the World War II Museum in New Orleans, I got them all beat. Okay, guys, let's keep moving. Thanks.
Hell yeah. He's awesome.
We're just going to move down. What's the next question? Okay, guys, let's move it up. I got an answer. Okay, guys, as you come off the deck there, this is my gas mask display. On my right, I have every American gas mask. From 1917, when chemical and biological weapons were first used against the Americans and the Allies in France by the Germans, as the years go by to what they're wearing today, every American gas mask. The rarest gas mask I have, you'll probably never see another real one. I talked to museums all around the country for over 30 years. Not one museum has an original baby gas mask from Belgium and one from France. The moms used to put the whole baby in the gas mask and pump the charcoal filter on the left side. The next rarest one, I only have 2 of these. This is the rubber waterproof gas mask, the M5 gas mask that was issued to all the GIs coming off the landing craft June 6, 1944 on Omaha and Utah Beach. Luckily, the Germans didn't use any chemical or biological weapons on the Americans or the Allies. If you watch that movie, Save Private Ryan, all the soldiers were wearing these gas patches on their right arm. And this would turn blue, like my jeans, if there's agents in the air. If it wasn't for this, by the time you know you have it, it would have been too late. Probably some Jewish guy invented this. Okay, if you were in the United States and the air raid sirens would go on, civil defense, this is the civil defense gas mask handed to all the the people in the United States, all the Americans. And when you hear the sirens, you were told to get cover, put your gas mask on, and it might be the Japanese or the Germans going to bomb the place. Luckily, they didn't. Okay, one person asked me what this roll is for. Let me tell you real fast. Anything you want to know, just ask me. Okay, let's say the vehicle is it's advancing at night, which most of them did. Okay, the average trench was 3.5 to 4.5 feet wide. Okay, let's say the vehicle at the front end just fell in the enemy's trench. The tracks would push the roller to the other side of the trench, pick up the front end. The front wheels would catch because it has a differential like four-wheel drive, and a half track could jump a span up to 6 feet. So that was a pretty good idea. Yep. Okay, we're gonna come around a turn. I'll show you the biggest guns I own.
So you know what's kind of crazy? I have my granddad fought a midway in Guadalcanal.
What? Is he still alive?
Nah, he died. He was probably one that.
Yep, that's right. Okay, guys, come around a turn here. These are the biggest guns I have. 106 to 75 to 57. The 57 and the 75 were used right through World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. The 106 millimeter one was made and designed in 1948. It was used in Korea and Vietnam. In Korea, it was hauled around on the M38A1 Jeep. See, there's a picture of it right there with the split windshield. And in Vietnam, 1959 to 75, it was hauled around on a 151A2. And this here's a spotting rifle, see on the top here? And that would shoot one of these traces so the artillery sergeant could get an idea where the shell's gonna go. To own something like this, you have to put in for a destructive device permit. Very, very hard for the government to sign a permit like that, especially after 9/11, 22 years ago. The government really doesn't want the average citizen to have a weapon this powerful. Luckily, I bought these about 25 years ago. But now I don't need the government or ATF's approval. This is my license. I'm a Class 7 dealer, very hard license to get. And what I do now, I get anything I want by sending the license to the owner. And then when I do receive it, I log it in my book, and I send the paperwork, 3 feet of paperwork to ATF, and tell them that now I own this weapon. So it is a real good license to have. Manufacturer's license, it's called. Very hard to get. Can't believe they gave it to me. Okay, you move down a little bit. If you ever wondered how dog tags are made, this is a 1943 dog tag machine, fully operational. They used the same dog tag machine in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Okay, I'm going to show you the first dog tags issued to the American soldier in World War I, just before World War I, 1915. This is what the dog tags look like. See that? Okay, and then in 1936, they came out with this design that everybody's familiar with. See, 1936 to 71. But in 1936 to 71, they had notches in it. See the notch? Yeah, see that? Okay, the reason it has a notch, let's say John over there, in back of me here, he just got shot in the back with a sniper. Who's ever in charge of the squad of the platoon normally would take the dog tags off the body. The notch would go in between his teeth. They push up real hard, and this way they can identify the body. The second dog tag would always go back to headquarters so they can mark it in the book that John is now deceased. Even today, every man and woman in the service wears dog tags. They just don't have a notch in them. Yeah. Okay, over here, this is called the Tucson Crane. They only make 320 of them. Most of these were located at the Brooklyn shipyards or the New Jersey waterways. They load all the heavy equipment, sea rations, ammunition, and firearms on the ships. In the Pacific Theater, these were located at San Diego to do the same thing. They only make 320 of these. We're real lucky to get one. Here's another vehicle that had shipped back from Europe. When you come up on the deck, take a look at the pictures. 65% of this vehicle was missing. Everything I couldn't find from other collectors around the United States, I made in my machine shop, and now it's like brand new. The reason I wanted this, they only made it for 3 years. It's called the Scout Car. And this is the vehicle in 1941, the White Trucking Company in Cleveland, Ohio, made the half-track out of it. They took the rear end off the Scout Car, they developed the track system, put the track system in the back of the Scout Car, and developed the first half-track, 1941 to 45. They only made half-tracks for 4 years. Anybody have any questions? No good. Follow me.
Have a look at the display, folks. Keep moving people off the bridge. Start looking through. Hey. Want to put money on it?
He's huge into motorcycles.
All right. I bet you $20 that it is.
I agree with you, it's not. And now I'm trying to figure out what it is.
I'm going to tell you here in a second. All right, folks, keep coming off the bridge. This is our Russian room, and like Dragonman said, the Russians of World War II, not the Russians of today. There's one thing for sure, you know, of course, the Russians were our allies or quasi-allies, but one thing for sure, they did sacrifice an awful lot for the war effort. Just to kind of give you an idea of why I said that, between 1940 and 1945, 26 million Russians were killed, 10 million soldiers and 16 million civilians. When you take into account the estimated number of people killed in World War II was 60 million people, that's almost half of everybody killed in World War II were Russians. So they sacrificed an awful lot. Some interesting things on display here, folks. On your right-hand side on the display cases, you're going to see the most produced bolt-action rifle in the world. These are the Mosin Nagant 1891. The one on the far end's got a scope on it. This is a Russian 3.5 times sniper scope. And a majority of Russian snipers in World War II. We lost some lights here. Didn't somebody... I think Mel turned off the lights. Mel, did you turn off the light?
Oh, sorry.
You'll be turning out. So anyways, majority of Russian snipers in World War II were actually female. On the display case in the back there, you're going to see a couple submachine guns. The wooden handled one is our PPSH-41. That's the most produced submachine gun of World War II. All right, where's my guy in the blue ball cap? All right, we were talking about this motorcycle here on your left-hand side, okay? Kind of resembles a BMW, but it's not. The Russians actually stole the design from BMW in 1939, reverse engineered it, produced about 8,600 of these in World War II. It was produced in a small town called Erbert in the Ural mountain ranges. That's an IMZ Ural motorcycle. Right here to my right, this is a PMM 1910 Maxim machine gun. This was designed by Hiram Maxim in 1910. It was updated in 1930, then again in 1941, before being replaced in 1943. This version you're looking at is water-cooled and fires 600 rounds a minute.
Nice camera.
Last weapon I'll talk about in this room is right over here on your right-hand side. This is the most produced light machine gun of World War II. That's the DP-28. Notice it is carrying a 47-round magazine. We don't have any questions, folks, on the Russians. We're going to head right and head into what is going to be probably the largest privately owned Nazi collection you guys will see. Right this way, folks.
Hey guys, let's move it up. Hitler's been waiting 2 hours so far. He's not
Never a good idea to keep Hitler or Dragonman waiting.
That's a grenade launcher on here. Yeah, it's British. 303 power.
Hey?
Yeah, we'll tell you about that.
Oh, very well.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, keep coming in, folks.
Were those guns, any of them water cooled, or how did they stay cool?
This one was water cooled.
Okay.
Yes, that version. There were two different versions.
Yeah.
There's actually Ukrainians are still using that type of weapon system right
Really?
now. I seen it on the news a few months ago. Yeah,
Wow.
still operational.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that one was water cooled. Keep coming into the right, folks. We're going to go into the British room afterwards, so just keep coming into the German room. Majority of them are over 1 million women served in the Russian army. You got to make comments to see everybody. Yes. Yeah, they're just
Close though.
Came across you on YouTube. That's how I found you. On YouTube.
Oh, good.
keep moving in, folks.
Okay, guys, come on in. Like 58 people now. Okay, guys, listen up. I'm going to tell you about the Germans. The Germans were way ahead of everybody. In fact, if Hitler listened to his generals, we probably all wouldn't be here today. They had the fastest shooting machine gun. It's right over here, the MG42. See those 8mm bullets? It shoots a rate of 1,200 a minute. All the ammunition over here was packed 1938. See, it's got the date on the box, 1938. All the head stamps, the back of the ammunition in World War I and World War II is all dated. That's why it's so collectible. They stopped doing that during Korea. Okay, so they had the fastest shooting machine guns. They had the Bismarck, the biggest battleship. They had the Tiger tank, 88mm gun, 80-ton tank, twice as powerful, twice as heavy duty as the American Sherman tank. In 1943, they developed and used the first jet fighter in World War II. They developed and used the V-1, the V-2 flying bomb, way ahead of everybody. But early June, Hitler had an idea. He wanted to take over Russia in 1941. All his generals told him it was a bad idea, but you can't tell Hitler what to do. You go to the gas chamber. So he started sending 3 million soldiers to Russia. June 22nd, 1941. 1 million to Stalingrad, 1 million to Leningrad, 1 million to Moscow. 1941 winter was the coldest on record, 33 below zero. 80% of all his soldiers were still wearing their summer uniforms. That one winter, he lost 1.5 million men. From that point on, his hopes of taking over the world started going downhill. So this is the most interesting and most popular room that most people want to learn about and see. And I'm going to start with naming some of these uniforms. In this one room here, I have every helmet and every uniform that they wore in World War I and World War II. This guy here is the artillery sergeant. We got the Panther, that's the tanker. We got the Luftwaffe, that's the Air Force. We got the African Corps, we got the SS uniform, the camouflage uniform. Very, very rare. About 15 years ago, I paid $6,000 for this uniform, but if I didn't buy it from another museum, I couldn't say I have every uniform, so I had to buy it. Yeah. They only made this uniform for a little over 1.5 years. Isn't that something? This is the complete jet fighter uniform, from the leather skull hat, the goggles, the gloves, and the boots. And here's a picture of the first jet fighter used in World War II, way ahead of all the other countries. This is the general over here. This is the SS Gestapo in charge of the death camps. And if you turn around here, these are helmets. I have every Nazi helmet. Give you an idea, this is called the Kaiser helmet. See that? Look how small their heads were. How old are you? 12. Let's see if it fits. It's a little tight. See, back then there was no fast food. There was no McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, pizza. Give you an idea. 40-something years ago, when I started collecting all this stuff, a helmet like this would go for $600 to $800.
Wow.
And back then, I thought it was a ripoff. Now they're $2,000 to $6,500. So all this stuff already doubled from what I paid, if not tripled. Yeah.
Aren't those called pickle house?
Yeah, but yeah, right. You're pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you grow up, give me a call. I'll give you a job. Yep. Yeah, they're Kaiser helmets, the pickle helmets. All these gold ones were used in the parades. The silver ones were used in World War I. And the reason it has a point in the top there, World War I was mostly trench fighting, hand-to-hand combat. And if they run out of ammo or they don't have their weapon anymore with the bayonet, they fight and they ram the enemy right in the stomach with the point. Okay, we're going to move down a little bit. In my museum, I have 86 show cabinets full. Okay, when you get to this show cabinet, this is every Maltese cross from 1914 to 1945, if you want to take a picture of it.
give him a job. Yeah, probably better than some of the other guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll start you up at $15 an hour. Yeah. And we gotta take out, we've got, hospitalization, we got union taxes, we got this, federal taxes. Yeah, you're going with like $7. Okay, guys, this is a political uniform, just like Hitler used to wear in 1933. I have 5 pictures here of Hitler wearing a uniform exactly like that. If I could prove, but I can't, that Hitler even tried on that uniform, it would be worth millions of dollars. So you guys move up. I'm going to show you the rarest thing I have in the museum. Hey, you guys can go over here. Those are K98s. Okay, guys, listen up. In 1944, Hitler's bodyguards were issued 15 sterling silver gun belt buckles. And I have one. Okay, the way I have mine displayed, you push the lever on the right side, the 3 barrels pop right out of the gun belt buckle. On the left side, 1, 2, 3 is the firing triggers. And what makes mine special, the serial number is number 1. And in the year 2012, I demonstrated it for the Discovery Channel. So it's right here if you want to take a picture of it. In front of the gun belt buckle is German-made 22 bullets that fit in the belt buckle. In front of the bullets is a cuff band the SS guy would have had on his left sleeve on his uniform. It says Führer's headquarters. No matter what museum you go to, you're probably not going to see another one. Because all the museums I talk to, not one of them know where there is another one. So that's pretty rare. You want to see that belt buckle in front of your house? You give me a bad check.
Hey, what he paid for it? $450.
Oh my God.
Yeah, tell them the story.
Okay, so we had a soldier came out from Fort Carson, right? And he was needing money to get back home.
Yeah.
And so his grandfather had brought that back from World War II, came to Dragonman's, and he said, "Hey, Mel, do you want to buy a belt buckle?" And Mel's like, "I got every belt buckle they produce. Why do I need any more?" But he was trying to, give the guy a break, and because he was trying to get back home. Guy wanted $650. Well, Mel's a Jew, so he got him down to $450. So he got the belt buckle, and he was like, okay, threw it in his toolbox, right? And 6-8 months went by, and he goes to grab a tool, and he finds the belt buckle, and he goes, I need to clean this up and get this in the museum. So he's cleaning it, with Neverdull, to shine it all up.
Yeah.
He accidentally hits the buttons, swings the barrels out of the belt buckle, and he's like, oh, what the heck? And found out afterwards, his wife Terry at the time started doing research, found out that it's the Nazi belt buckle. Only 15 of them were produced. Only 10 have actually ever been recovered since 1944. Wow. And his just happens to be number 1.
What's the value of that?
It's priceless.
That's stamped on there somewhere?
Yep. If you look right close at the front, you'll see SS 44 number 1, and number 1 is stamped on all the parts.
And that's shooting 22s?
Yeah, those are the German 22 shorts that it fires.
Jeez.
And he actually did. He took it out in 2012, and that's the
And
coolest
it
thing.
works?
It still works.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Not want to shoot that.
Hopefully that soldier doesn't look at any of his YouTube videos or anything like that to find out what he actually did.
Yeah.
Now, are these real size suits?
Yes.
Because they look like small men.
Wait till we get the World War I.
Even smaller. Skinny almost.
Did you hear him tell the story of how he acquired that land? Yeah.
Are they only?
Amazing. Gotcha. That one's a little bit more powerful than your shuriken. You need to make one now that shoots bullets.
Okay, guys, let's move it up. We got to keep going. Hey, Justin, use the stun gun. What do you want to know? Ask me anything.
Any of your relatives go there?
No. Okay, guys, let's move it up. I want to tell you about the Holocaust. This is pretty interesting. And over the years, a lot of people didn't even want to walk in this room here, you know. But it's a part of history. It happened. I tell people about it, and hopefully it'll never happen again. If you guys want, you could just move over here just a little bit. Okay, see this lantern over here? That came back from Buchenwald concentration camp. Maybe the last time that candle was lit was 79 years ago. Wow. Look at the ice pick from Dachau. We got 2 inmates with the ice pick. They got it in the corpse's ears, and they're probably pulling them from the gas chamber to the incinerator. When I bought that ice pick from a collector in Europe, I wasn't expecting to get the picture. Okay, these are 100% original Holocaust uniforms. This one's from Sobor concentration camp in Poland, Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Dachau. After World War II, all the stuff was gathered up, it was buried, it was burnt. The German people really didn't want the world to know what happened, but it was too big of a thing to hide. I paid over $3,000 for each uniform. If I didn't buy it, some other museum would have bought it. This stuff is really hard to find. The money I make every day, where are you going to get another uniform like that? That's the way I look at it.
You said the second one here was Auschwitz?
Right, yep. And see the patch over here?
Yeah.
Okay, the whole thing is right up there. It tells you what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, see that picture right there? Yeah. Yeah, every triangle means something. Okay, move up just a little more.
Criminal, antisocial, pacifist, political activist, gypsy.
Okay, guys, let me explain this the best I can. This is a picture I cut out of my history book years ago. See all the young teenagers, you know, like you? They're on the left side. Those are the ones the Germans want to hold on to because they can work them to death. See all the old ladies, the old men, the crippled people on the right side? Those are the ones the Germans want nothing to do with. And 80% of the time, what they did right from the choosing ramp is march them right to the hot showers. So we'll start with that. The way the Germans would get about 250 to 300 people in a room almost exactly this size. And you know, I know it's about this size because about 9 years ago, I sent my daughter to Auschwitz for the tour. And this is, her name's Melissa, she's not in today. And she's in front of one of the 42 ovens. See? That summer, she visited 3 death camps in Poland because she has to learn about all this stuff. Okay, there'd be Germans on top of the roof with gas masks on, and they'd be opening up these Icon B gas canisters. I have 58 of them, and they dump the little white pellets through the pipe, and as soon as these white pellets that are in here hit the atmosphere, they vaporize, and right after, about 2 minutes after you breathe it, cardiac arrest. That means your heart stops working or your lungs collapse. 58 cans I have, unopened. Okay, the date on here, 1943. Okay, you see that? See the back of the can? See, no gimmicks, never open. This is the real deal. Here. Yeah, see that? Okay, tell these people what these cans are worth on eBay.
If you can even find them, an unopened can, $3,000 and more.
Here. I had 60 of them, but over the years, 2 museums I sold them to. Okay, so now you got 250 to 300 people laying on top of each other. The Germans are too proud to go in there and pull the bodies out, so they got these teenagers, you know, that they use as slaves, and they gave them these claws, the serial number of 324. See the serial number? Yep. This is called the claw, serial number 324. I got 2 of them now. The other one's on the second shelf in back of me. You see that? Okay, so they go in there, they put this around the body, the wrist or the ankle, see, and it locks. See, like that? They pull the body out of the gas chamber. They'd hit this middle trigger over here, and that would release the body, just like that. Outside the gas chamber, there'll be a whole squad of young kids, and they have pliers and wooden dowels or wedges to keep the corpse's mouth open. And they're checking for gold teeth. At that point, if you had gold teeth, they'd pull them out and throw them in a box, just like this. These are the teeth, these are the wedding bands. Okay, after that, you go on a rail system. See all the bodies on the rail system? That's Auschwitz, and it goes right to an incinerator. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In Auschwitz, they were burning and killing right around 4,000 people, 28,000 a week. And that's only one death camp. There were 240 of them. Wow. Surprised they got away with what they did for so long. Okay, now if you were lucky enough to choose to go to a factory and make parts and ammunition for the Germans, you would receive a passport. Here, let me show you this one. This is a passport book. These are all passport books. See the approval stamp? What I want to show you, the approval stamp is half on the paper and half on the picture. So you can't fool the Germans and change the picture. Yeah, see that? Okay, let me show you something you'll probably never see. Okay, I got the approval stamp.
Wow.
Okay, see that? I paid $1,000 for this, so it better be here when the last guy leaves. Yeah, luckily we don't have any bikers here today.
No.
Yeah, here you go. Right. Yeah, that's the approval stamp. So if you guys are taking out a loan, you're buying a new house, a car, and you need the paperwork stamped, I got it. Okay. Okay, even if you were a soldier working in the death camps or the factories, you'd have to have the same approval stamp. See, this is the soldier's passport book. I have 35 of them now. Yeah, see that? I got stuff other museums wish they had. Okay, so let's see. Let me point out some very bad people. I could spend 2 hours in this one room telling you about stuff because it's amazing they got away with what they did for so long. Okay, Hitler's top man, Hermann Göring. He was in charge of the Luftwaffe. They did catch him. They were going to hang him, but he got a hold of cyanide and killed himself before they could hang him. Joseph Goebbels, very bad person. After Hitler killed himself, one day after Hitler killed himself, April 30th, 1945, Joseph Goebbels was supposed to be in charge. He didn't want any part of that. He killed his 6 kids, his wife, and himself with cyanide in the bunker. Okay, worst of them all, Heinrich Himmler. It was his idea for the final solution to kill all the Jews and all Hitler's enemies. He was one of the first 25 people to join the Nazi Party right after World War I, right around 1920. And he committed suicide with cyanide. Okay, you want to see the cyanide now they killed himself with? Of course you do. Okay, see in the front, SS? Yeah, you could just about read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that? See that? Okay, so they keep these little brass canisters somewhere hidden in their uniform. The Japanese did the same thing. If they think they're going to get captured, tortured, don't want to reveal any military information, they just open this up, bite the glass capsule, the cyanide would foam up your saliva, and you're dead within 2 minutes. Watch how perfect this comes out. You ready? Want to videotape it?
You'll never see this again.
The Germans were excellent machinists. I wish I had one working for me. Okay, ready? Okay, action. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the cyanide. It doesn't freeze in the winter. Look how perfect.
Jesus.
It's about 1 inch long.
Can you do that this way too?
Yeah. Hey, open up. Okay, ready? Yeah, show that to your history teacher.
That's what Rommel took?
Okay.
Is that what Rommel took?
What? Oh, yeah, they all did, yeah. Yeah, the Japanese had white cyanide, and the Germans had blue. It depends what had red. It depends what the factory was. Cyanide. You'll probably never see this at another museum. This is the original box, and of course the cyanide is still in here. And it's Japanese writing on the bottles. Yeah, see that? You have show and tell in school? See that?
He didn't have a good machinist, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Germans were the best with machine work. Okay, this is cyanide in a bottle with wax on top. This is enough to kill 15 people. Okay, you guys ready for this? Okay, here's the family pack.
Oh my God.
Okay, so if you lost your job about 1 year ago, they already took your new car away because you missed 6 payments. Monday morning, they're coming for your house, and to top it off, your wife's been cheating for 3 years. I'll sell you on $100, cash. Cash. You got to pay before, not after.
You take post-dated out-of-state checks?
No checks. Okay, so anyway, let me just point out a few more things in Iwo Jima. In World War I and World War II, you could bring home anything you could carry. Nobody cared, nobody checked. But you had until May 8th, 1986 to register that war trophy with ATF, with those serial numbers, or else after that you can never ever get paperwork. I tried 40 times. They all know I have a museum. At least once a year, I have a little old lady call me up. They said, George just passed away. We just cleaned the attic or the basement. We found an MP40, 9mm submachine gun that he probably brought back from Germany. I used to call ATF. I said, a lady called me up. They found a war trophy in the house. Could I go get it? Could I weld it up? Could I cut it in half? Whatever you guys want me to do. And I could put it in my wall museum. Oh, no, Mr. Bernstein, we need the address and the phone number. I said, well, I'm sorry, we didn't get that far. All they want to do is destroy it. So in about 10 years now, I don't call them anymore. Okay, Iwo Jima, February 19th to March 25th, 6,821 Marines died. It haunted this general the rest of his life. His name was Holland Smith. The reason it haunted him the rest of his life is because he's seen all those 17, 18, 19-year-old kids lose their lives to take over a stupid island. But they had to take over the island because the B-29s were coming back from the bombing missions and they're running out of fuel. And if they landed in the Pacific Ocean, there was nobody to rescue them. And 3 times more of that amount of Americans would have perished. Okay, the atomic bomb, August 6, 1945. 3 days later, Nagasaki. 5 days later, August 14th. 1945, they surrendered to America. The final surrender was September 2nd on the Missouri battleship with General MacArthur. See that picture there? That was taken on the right side of the bow, right on this model. Okay, and then when Korea started in 1950, President Truman put him in charge of that conflict. This is every 6.5 caliber Nambu handgun. In my museum, almost 2,500 working weapons. We have any Vietnam veterans here? Oh yeah? What year were you there?
73, 74.
Oh, it was all over.
Well, over here.
Oh yeah? Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
Yeah. What year were you there?
67.
Oh, cool. Okay, let me tell you why you two had it easy. I was there in 65. Yahoo! Welcome home. Okay, the next room is Vietnam.
So if you can go around to the other side of the room if you'd like. Move it in there. Move it in, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, come on in. Vietnam.
Just keep moving around there, folks.
Excuse me, guys, I'm gonna come in over here.
Okay, guys, come on in. Okay, Vietnam was cut at the 17th parallel. Bad guys Hanoi, good guys Saigon. Unfortunately, 58,272 young American soldiers didn't make it home alive. Luckily, 3 did. Okay, here's a picture of Dragon Boy. 18 years old, I got drafted. What you're looking at now is before and after. See that? They're pretty cute. A lot of girls after me. See, now I'm not cute anymore. Now they're after my money. Unfortunately, we only took 4 pictures. I didn't know I was going to have a military museum. Okay, that was the tank I was on. My name's in front of it, MEL. 44mm pom-pom guns, anti-aircraft. I was on a 211 Deuce and a half Ho Chi Minh Trail. And this is the letter. Me and 8 of my friends in Brooklyn, New York, we all got this letter in 1 week. We all got inducted. It tells you what time and where to report. See that? I don't know if you guys know it, but unfortunately, Nixon stopped the draft in 1972. He should have never done that. And real fast, I'll tell you why. Okay? Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, and the Bronx, that's the roughest place you could grow up in the United States back then. Going to school, getting beat up, they take my lunch money, after school get beat up again, they're stealing things. That's the way you grew up back then, okay? All it took was 3 or 4 months in the Army, and they straightened me and my friends right out. And that's what they would have done to all these kids that are disrespecting the cops and shooting up the schools. I think they should bring back the draft, load them all up on a C-130 airplane, and drop them all off in Ukraine for basic training. But, you know, President Biden's not going to do that. He's still taking bicycle lessons. We're going to have to wait for Trump. Yeah, a few more months, Trump will be back. He'll straighten everything out. Yeah. Okay, guys, if we don't vote for Trump, who are we going to have? Think about it. You know, all we had to do was pay another $2,000 or $3,000 hush money, and they would have left them alone. Okay, so anyway, this is the hot gun in Vietnam. I have 4 of them now. It's called the M60 machine gun. It shoots a rate of 308 bullets, 550 a minute. It was replaced about 23, 24 years ago with the 240 and the 249. This is the way we had to dress in Vietnam at night, 100 degrees, and at daytime, 135. It's raining every night, humid. The worst place in the world to be. The snakes are 15 feet long. The bugs are 2 inches and bigger. Really a bad place. If I was a judge in the United States and somebody committed a very bad crime, I'd give him a blanket, a tent, send him to Vietnam for 6 months. And when he came back, he'll be a whole different person. If he didn't come back, nobody cares. Yeah. Okay, over here, this is my friend Larry's uniform. He passed away about 12 years ago. That's a picture of Larry. He gave me his uniform, and he died because of that Agent Orange. Okay, in 1965, they took away my M14, and they gave everybody this new plastic Mattel gun, Toys R Us. Nobody liked them. A lot of kids lost their lives because of these malfunctioning. Back then, the tolerances were way too close. The bullets were actually getting stuck in the barrel. It's made out of Zytel leather. Everybody was looking for an AK-47. You pick them out of the lake, the mud. All you got to do is cock them, wipe them down a little bit. 95% of the time they work great because they're 3 to 4 thousandths of an inch clearance on all the moving parts. Just about every army overseas uses AK-47s because they're so reliable. Okay, the next room is Korea, 1950 to 53.
Moving in here, folks. Circling around that room, have a look at the display. Circling around, folks. Circling around. All right, as the rest of the group is coming around, this is the Korean War room. So the Korean War, June 1950 to July 1953. During that short 3-year period of time, the U.S. lost 36,579 soldiers. A lot of the battle took place within that first year, and the country was split at the 38th parallel. One of the toughest battles that took place in Korea happened in November of 1950. Not sure if you guys have heard of the Chosen Few or the Frozen Chosen, but that's when a force of 30,000 Marines at the Chosen Reservoir went up against 120,000 Chinese. Again, one of the toughest the Marines have ever faced. In that 2-week battle in November, they lost 4,588 soldiers, with just as many being wounded in action or missing in action. The Korean War is still actually an ongoing conflict. There has been no peace treaties actually signed. There was an armistice that was signed, but no actual peace treaty. So the North and South are actually still at war. If we don't have any questions on Korea, we're going to head into the next room, which is World War I. Right this way, folks. Just keep moving in there. Everything in this room is over 100 years old. Well, except for us, of course. Although we do have a few people on the tour that are looking pretty close. Spotlights, yep. The Korean War era. The other one down there is World War II. 1,000,000 kilowatt power. This one was powered by the generator. These ones have, on the far end, have a tungsten rod that burns for 48 hours. Yep.
Oh, that's a searchlight. Oh, they put that a billion sticker right there. Oh, okay. Yeah, look for the big 15. They used them in World War II and Vietnam.
You don't have anything that was owned by Hitler. Does anyone? No one knew it. That
I know of.
Mel, who's that there?
That was my late wife. Yeah.
Always got the short barrel with the trench shield on it.
Yeah, she got killed right out here in the shooting range.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Accident?
Yeah. Okay, this fella here just asked what those pictures were. That was my late wife 12 years ago, 2012. She got killed right out here in the shooting range. We were filming for about 7 months. I was going to have my own show on the Discovery Channel. And the very last episode, all we had to do was hold the machine guns and walk through the smoke, and one of the smoke bombs took off and went right through her out here. She died instantly. Luckily, she didn't suffer. And once in a while, I'll tell people about it. You know, it's hard to talk about, but we don't want her to be forgotten, because she really got me the nonprofit, the 501(c)(3). She got me the zoning for the museum. For the 7 vehicles I had shipped back from Europe, you wouldn't believe all the paperwork to have vehicles shipped back to the United States. She did all that for me, and really helped a lot. Yeah, it would have been some show. It was going to be called Dragon Tales. Yeah, but you know, they canceled it. But they did call me about 6-7 years ago to see if I want to do it again. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not really interested anymore. I have no time. You know, they're really not safe at all. Okay, so now you know.
Thank you.
Okay, so World War I started in 1914. The British and the French were fighting the Germans. The Americans got involved in 1917 to 1918, and the Americans were led overseas with a very, very special 6-star general. There's only 2 6-star generals in military history, George Washington and John Pershing. Here's a picture of John Pershing. So there's some really rare stuff in this room. Okay, the oldest bowler knife I have is right there, 1903. What's special about World War I and World War II collecting? Every country dated 98% of everything. They stopped doing that during Korea. This is the first aviation patch. He died of cancer. Him and my dad died because of cancer. Because back then, everybody wanted to walk around with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth in the 30s and 40s. See that? But look at Dragonman, looks the same. Yeah? See, and that's what I tell the kids. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, no Coca-Cola. You work hard, make money, and live your dream. Yeah.
Wait, he took that photo, like this one? He took that photo?
Yeah, he took all the photos.
Oh my god, that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay, no more questions. 15 missions over Europe. All he had to do was 8, and he volunteers for 5 more.
Wow.
I said, Dad, what'd you do that for? If you got shot down, I wouldn't be here. You know, he goes, well, I had to go. They needed me. You know, that's the way the soldiers were back then. Yep, the best generation. Okay, and this was 7 on a Sunday morning. 2 waves of Mitsubishi and Kawasaki airplanes bombed Pearl Harbor. A total of 320, and that's what got the Americans into World War II. Here's our 32nd president, that second picture over there, signing a declaration of war, Franklin D. Roosevelt, against Japan, December 8th, 1941. I know a real lot about Pearl Harbor, thanks to this fellow right here. His name was Pete. He was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He lived right down the block here on Curtis Road. He was my dad's best friend. They both passed away about 14 years ago. Okay? Unfortunately, 3,478 civilians, Marines, and sailors died that one day. Pete's job, when Pearl Harbor was being bombed, he was on the USS Maryland. His job was a Navy photographer. He took 36 pictures with a camera that looked just like this over here. Okay, before he passed away, he gave me the whole album. This is what the original pictures look like. They're not even in a history book. So slowly, over the years, all around me, on the floor, on the cabinets, I've been having them blown up. This is one of my favorite pictures right here. I got to get this made a little bigger. See the airplane up in the air? Okay, that's a torpedo bomber. See the airplane?
Coming right at him.
Okay, it's his job, the guy flying the airplane, to come as close as he can to the ship and release the torpedo. I said, Pete, weren't you afraid the torpedo's going to hit the ship you're taking the pictures from? He said, of course we were, but we all had a job to do that day. Very brave people. Okay, let me show you a couple of pictures of Pete here.
The most famous gun that we have in this room is right over here in the corner. That's our Vickers .303 caliber water-cooled machine gun. This would take a crew of about 6 to 8 people to operate. You would have your gunner, your ammunition, and about 6 to 8 people to carry all the water containers and ammunition for this weapon system.
I take it to the car shows. This is one of my 3 Willys. The Willys Company in 1941 only made these coupes for 3 or 4 months because in 1941, the Willys Company and GPW Ford got the contract to start making Army Jeeps. In the next 4 years, both companies made over 250,000 Jeeps. Okay, so anyway, this isn't a Ford motor, it's not a Dodge motor, it's not a Chevy motor. It's a Dart Brothers motor. The Dart Brothers in Connecticut, they start with a cast iron block, they bore it out to 565 cubic inches. It's got forged Jans pistons in it. It's got a 690 lift Iscaderi cam, 871 blower, and twin Demon carburetors. If I had to replace this motor tomorrow, they go for $26,000. It's hooked up to a B&M 4-speed transmission. It's got a narrow 9-inch forged rear with 411 gears. And the Mickey Thompson tires on the back of this vehicle are 16 inches wide. It pulls the front wheels off the ground. Nobody in Colorado Springs beats the Dragonman.